Om. Sairam, everyone. So Swami is talking to us about, how do we reach the stage of chanting Om, when we end our life. And he's just getting started on various aspects of Karma Yoga. So I will ask the sisters, I think we did not discuss in detail the passages which we left last week. So I will ask the sisters to read and then we'll continue.
Sairam. Ordinary folk do not get the mind fixed on master so easily at the point of death. It presupposes long training, previous achievement of certain accomplishments, what is called Purva Samskara. Mind. Shit. Phone is not answering. The mind must discard all other thoughts as low and inferior, defiling when these two are present, the thought of Madhava will certainly emerge. And so your mind is the mind takes.
Next, I think Narmada, I think Kalyani, I think you
habits
should.
And disciplines have to be taught. Therefore, Krishna began describing how the Lord has to be pictured in the mind during the sadhana stages and with what feelings and emotions he has to be fixed in the mind. Sarah.
Yeah, I think Narmada, there were, I think, with some disturbances, at least I don't know whether it's at my end. Maybe we'll just reread.
Sairam, brother, we were unable to hear Yildi.
Okay.
Maybe in the beginning, only last two sentences we were able to hear. Otherwise, it was some sort of audio issue, the cutting and chopping in between.
We will read once again. Maybe Kalyani, you can try.
So I think I'm having internet issues. So Kalyani, do you mind?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Ordinary folk.
Kalyani, I think if you don't mind reading.
Yes, I'll read. Ordinary folk do not get the mind fixed on Madhava so easily at the point of death. It presupposes long training, previous achievement of certain accomplishments, what is called Purva Samskara. The mind must have gone through a certain course of discipline. It has to be Yoga Yukta, possessed of yoga. Even that is not enough. The mind must discard all other thoughts as low and inferior, defiling even. This disgust towards all other objects should grow in strength. When these two are present, the thought of Madhava will certainly emerge and be steady during the last moments. So, your mind is the important thing. When the mind rots, all else rots. Man moves as fast as his mind, in the direction that the mind takes. To tame and train the mind, good habits and discipline have to be sought. Therefore, Krishna began describing how the Lord has to be pictured in the mind during sadhana stages and with what feelings and emotions he has to be fixed in the mind.
Okay, thank you very much, Kalyan. So I think we had read and we had started discussing, so I will pause. Swami is again giving importance to the preliminary disciplines, or Purva Samskara, Swami calls them. So I will stop here. If anyone would like to share anything, please do so.
Can we go through the Telugu? I don't think we did that.
Yes, we have not.
Sai Ram,
Sairam Auntie.
you want me to read?
Yes, Auntie.
16th chapter.
Yes.
సామాన్య మానవునకు మరణ సమయమున మాధవ చింత రావాలనన్నా అంత సులభము కాదు.
For ordinary folk, if they want to get the thought of the Madhava, the Lord, it is not an easy thing to achieve.
యా దానికిని పూర్వ సంస్కారము ఉండవలెను.
So for that, some earlier refinements have to be accomplished.
మనస్సును అభ్యాసయుక్తము చేయవలెను.
Mind has to be trained to focus.
అంత మాత్రం మన కూడాను పవిత్ర స్మరణ ప్రాప్తించదు.
Just because of that, you will not achieve some divine thoughts
at the time of death.
at the death.
అన్య చింతనను మనస్సును చేరనివ్వక వాటిపై అసఖ్యా భావన పెంచవలెను.
Without paying attention of the mind on other things, it has to be, you have to develop some sort of a detachment or disinclination.
ఈ రెండిటి వలననే మరణ సమయమున మాధవ చింతన మనస్సున చేరును.
Only through these two practices, the mind will be able to think of the Lord at the time of death.
దీనికి మనస్సే ప్రధానము.
For this, the mind is the most important thing.
మనస్సు చెడన మనిషి చెడును.
If the mind is spoilt, the man is also spoilt.
మనస్సు స్థితిని పట్టే మనిషి గతి ఏర్పడును.
Only because of the state of the mind, man's goal is dependent on the state of one's mind.
కానీ మనస్సును సంస్కరింప చేయుట కొరకు మంచి అభ్యాసములు కావలెను.
For refining the mind, good practices are required.
అందు నిమిత్తమై కృష్ణ పరమాత్మ భగవంతుని ఎట్టి భావముతో స్మరించవలెను. భగవంతుని స్వరూపం మెట్టిదో వర్ణించుటకు మొదలు పెట్టెను.
So because of that, Krishna Paramatma stated the nature of God as well as the form of God. He started describing.
ఎట్టి భావముతో స్మరించవలెను. That is it.
Oh, with what feeling you should be able, you should remember them. Okay, sorry, Aunt.
No problem. And then భగవంతుని స్వరూపం ఎట్టిదో వర్ణించుటకు he started describing Bhagawan's swarupa. I think we have to stop there, no?
Yeah, I think so, Aunt.
That's what feelings and emotions he has fixed in the mind. That's it.
The last one, sorry, Bhagavantuni Swarupamettido. That one, it means, sorry, can you just say that again? The meaning?
Swarupa. Yeah, Sairam, good.
Go ahead, Auntie. Means, what is the nature of the form of the Lord? Krishna is describing, so that we will be able to think of him,
What is the nature of the form of the Lord?
Yeah, what is the form of the, yes.
Varnichu
means describe.
Describe, okay.
Modalu patna means began.
Oh, okay.
Varnana is description. Varninchatuko is the verb to describe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that began. See, therefore, Krishna began describing how the Lord has to be pictured. That's the way it has been translated. But actually, Swami says, what is the form of Krishna? Or what's the form of God?
Asahya bhavana, that means detachment.
Yes.
Sahana is to put up. To Asakya, no, you can't have that kind of, you have to have that kind of feeling, not to putting up with any of those kind of bhavana.
But
Like
you should not tolerate, other things. Tolerating intolerance towards other things should be we have to grow intolerance toward other things, if you want to put it that way. You should not put up with other things, that kind of a meaning.
Okay.
Okay, and this is correct.
Correct. Yes. Intolerance towards other thoughts, but only fixing up our mind on this Bhagavan's thought.
In the English, it said yoga yukta. So I'll be saying abhyasa yukta, right?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, you should be merged in practice. You should join in practice or that kind of thing.
In that English translation of yoga
Yes.
yukta, that should be.
It's abhyasa yukta is the.
Even I think both of them give the same meaning. When you are concentrating fully, abiding in that yoga or dhyana, it is the same as abhyasa. Is it? No, I think abhyasa is training.
Training, yes.
Abhyasa is training the mind.
Yeah,
yoga yukta is the one who is already abiding in the.
Yes. So ultimate goal is the yoga yukta, but initially we should be abhyasa yukta, I think. Initially we should focus on training our mind until the mind is fully merged. So again, Swami is talking about preliminary disciplines, which should precede.
And Swami saying that you need the purva samskara.
Yeah,
so
purva
that
means earlier. Purva is earlier or before, prior.
Oh, okay.
Prior.
So that's not necessarily referring to in your previous birth, but just even like earlier what you've done, or
Samskaras are formed in the previous birth also. I think so.
Yeah, whatever is prior means it not only in this life, the lives before also. But we can't change anything before life. That's what to do. So what we can do, focus on is now.
Last time, I think Sister Anandi brought up this, when the mind rots, all else rots. But the actual, in Telugu, it is, when the mind goes bad, everything goes bad. That is the exact translation. I think we did it last time.
Yes, Auntie. Chedipodi. So if no, there's no other thought. I think we all anya bhava, asahya bhava. So I think we'll move on.
I had a question about that actually. So about the mind discarding all other thoughts. Like I guess one part of the question is like when Swami, I guess in the English it's kind of translated as this disgust towards other things other than God. Is it like, because I guess ultimately we're supposed to get rid of raga and dvesha like even the hatred or that disgust, all those feelings we should eventually get rid of, or it should be one, I suppose, right? But I guess this is in the training, like in that the path to there, we do still have to actively develop a dislike for other thoughts other than that.
I think Swami has used the word Chaira Nivaka. That means we should not give it room. Something for other thoughts.
Is it more like indifferent to anything else? Like you don't care? Okay. Because if you're disgusted, then you have a feeling, I think that's what the Kalyani is getting at.
I think Kalyani is asking, to what extent should we discard? I think that's the question.
Discard. Okay, yeah.
Okay. So if we discard any other thought, then we can't function. I think is that so, Kalyani? That's
that.
Yeah.
And even what Narmata said too, like, should we really have a hatred towards those thoughts, or should we just be more interested?
That was my question too. Like,
so asahya means
Disgust also.
yeah.
Disgust is there. The word is there.
Brother, one more question in addition to that. When these two are present, which one they are referring?
Yeah.
Two.
When these two are present, the thought of Madhava will certainly emerge. So which thought, what are the two things is referred here?
Yeah, so I think, see, one is asahya bhava. See, asahya, you should not help those thoughts, that kind of meaning also you can tell, So we should not go to the aid of such thoughts. Some thought comes, we were to do something. Then the Atma, basically, we give importance to it, we help go and achieve all that, and that should be our attitude. If some other, I think when we say other thoughts, anything else as a goal should not come in the way. The mind wants to achieve something. I think at that point we should not give it too much importance. At the neglecting the thought of the Lord, or that as a goal, should not give room for something else to take over our life. So asahya is not necessarily hatred or disenchantment. We will not pursue that. See, I think the reality is, here we are talking about the death as the goal. When we die, we are going to think of the Lord. So that is a goal which we have set for ourselves. And that should be our primary goal. At the same time, world also will attract other achievements, other accomplishments for us to chase, seek after. I think that's what Swami is mentioned, is the way I understand. It is not in a day-to-day thing. I won't think of food. I'm not going to think of cooking. It's not like that. These are things which help us attain the goal ultimately. Okay, so they have to be attended to. But the thing is, our life should not be dedicated to pursuing some other goal. I think that is the way we should take this, so that we do not give, means we don't have two goals. We just cannot have. We have to have one goal, and any other thing which we achieve should only aid this one, because asahya means also helpful, going to the aid of. Because I looked at the meaning, lost beyond, asahya means lost beyond aid. Means you can't even help, that kind of thing. So sahaya, that kind of a thing, maybe that's the way we should take. We should not help the other goal, achieve other goal. I think that's the way to take it. But if we don't think of anything which will sustain even our real goal, that is also a problem. So for example, if we are going for bhajan or something like that, we should know what clothes to wear. We should think about that also. So you can't just say, I'm just going to get up and go to bhajan. Then we will become asahya for other people. Other people won't be able to bear us. Okay, so we have to take care of certain practical things when we pursue even spiritual sadhana. They are all which are like we should eat and go, so that we don't get tired or something like that. Those are everything we do should be towards the goal which we have set for ourselves. I think that's the way to look at it. That's my understanding.
That
So,
makes sense.
Yeah.
Sister Aruna, that is one of the thing. The second thing is to think of the Lord.
Okay.
We can
Those are the two things.
we can say like this. One is training of the mind, abhyasa yukta. And the other one is not to allow any other thought to come and disturb us when we are concentrating on the Lord. So that those two things we have to develop throughout our lives, so that at the time of death, we can remember Lord's name. That's what he says. He renditi valna marana samayamuna madhava chintana manassuna cherunu. There should not be any other thought in the mind, and not allowing it to come into our minds. And the other one is training the mind to remember him always. So these two are necessary for the Lord's name to be remembered by us at the time of death. Sai Ram.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Swami always uses this vyavasatmika buddhi, vyavasayatmika buddhi. That means like a farmer. The farmer will do everything to rear the crop, okay, rear the crops. But if there are weeds which grow, he will be intolerant towards them. He will just remove them without any care, and he will discard them, because the field should be used only for cultivating a crop. So it's the same thing with our mind also. Okay, and so for the purpose of developing that crop, you will water, you will put manure, you will put whatever is required, so that you can raise a crop.
Hard to identify the weed in our life sometime, right? Attached to everything.
Bad thoughts. That's all.
What is the equivalent word in Telugu? The word to hear in the disgust. In this disgust towards all of the objects should grow in strength. Why Swami used the word, maybe equivalent the word to disgust? Maybe when we think about the disgusting, that always, any disgusting things we will hate. So I am wondering why Swami used this word or the equivalent word in the disgust. Maybe
Sister, Swami uses asakya bhavana. In Tamil also we use that word asakyam. Can't put up with it. Asakyam.
So, yeah, the saukyam and the opposite is asaukyam. So it's not good for our...
Asakya, sahya, sahana, sakya. Asakya. Romba asakya irukku. Saikya mudila.
Okay. Thank you. Intolerance.
Yeah, intolerance. Saikya mudila.
Okay.
Am I okay, Arun? Am I correct?
Yes, I think, even when people are intolerable, that doesn't mean you hate them. You just try to avoid them. That's the way we would treat, we will not, we should not turn negative. If we find situations or anything which is not tolerable, you will discard them. You will go around, you will make sure that,
we don't have to hate. We don't have to hate certain things.
Exactly. I think
Yeah, that line in sorry.
Sai Ram, Sai Satish, please go ahead.
Sister, if yours is in line with the same thing, please go ahead. I can I can continue after you.
No, I just wanted to confirm that in the English, the line that it says this disgust towards all other objects should grow in strength. Like that part is not there, right?
Perugavalan, he's saying
Oh, okay.
means it has to grow.
Okay.
Penchavalano, Perugavalano, all the same thing. Asikya Sabhavana, Penchavalano. I think you can develop is the word here in Penchavalano means to develop.
Your version has Penchavalanu, auntie?
Ama, Panchavalano.
So, the digital version has Peragavalanu.
Oh.
So, which is more or less. Yes, Sai Satish.
Yes, and so I was just thinking, like how you were saying about the Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. I think Swami also gives that thing like how is it the oil flow that goes from one cup to another cup in terms of its seamless flow.
I'll see what.
So it is basically, I think, coming to whatever we can do in making it that Ananyas Chintayanto Mam, in the kind of like, initially we may start with some things that are we are focusing on the Lord, but it is not continuous. There are some distractions. But every time the mind, even as we do our day-to-day things, if we can see the hand of God in what we are doing, that is also great. But if to see that directly is difficult, then it is like every time we do the whatever is needed, but tell the mind go back and focus on the Lord. The same thing of how the honeybee just seeks only the honey kind of a thing. Just go back and have that thought of the Lord continuously in the mind, so much so that it becomes with time a seamless flow that is continuous, and basically it goes in such a way that when Swami says that Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Ye Jana Pariupasate Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam Yogakshemam Vahamyam, I think it starts with Ananyas Chintayanto Mam, where we are thinking incessantly of him to such an extent that nothing else is a distraction. Then what we have as Yogakshemam, both in this world and the hereafter, both gets taken care of. That seamless and unwavering, constant remembrance of the Lord. So anything that distracts, we say, no, mind, this is not the thing. Go back.
Thank you, Sai Satish.
I was just curious, what is the is there the meaning of the word Madhava? Just because Swami uses that word for God here.
Which one you are asking?
No, she's asking the meaning of the word Madhava. Name Madhava.
One meaning is the one who has Mahalakshmi in his Vakshasthala. That is his heart. Madhava.
Oh.
Maybe there are other meanings also.
Auntie, Madhava, Lakshmi in the heart. What is that really?
Ma is Lakshmi.
Madhava. Okay.
The one who has in his Vakshasthala. Vakshasthala is the portion where, Bhagawan always has that in his children.
Okay, thank you.
What is that? Vaksha and Sthala? What does that mean?
Vakshasthala is
chest.
chest.
Oh, it's just one word that means that?
Yeah, Vakshasthala is one word.
All right.
Chest. The beloved of, sorry, auntie.
Is there any other meaning apart from this Mahalakshmi, Madhava?
Another meaning is there, but this is the most welcome meeting.
Common.
One who has slayed Madhu also is called Madhava, but who has Vadha, who has destroyed Madhu, that kind of meaning also is given.
That demon.
Yeah, demon. But Ma is Lakshmi. Dhava means beloved, who is in his heart.
In his heart.
Okay, so that's The Lord has, so that itself, as Kalyani said, Swami is using, that means God will keep us in his heart, or we should keep him in our heart, whichever way we want to say. Okay. Both ways, if we should be worthy of being won by the Lord in his own heart.
Yeah, in his word, correct.
What is the process? By keeping him in our heart, then we become dear to him. I think that's the way we can do. Yes, Brother Dasan, please go ahead.
So that means, brother, so that fixed on Madhava in the last minute, it look like easy, but the Swami is saying one thing, that depending on what you brought from the Purva Janma, and the other one, you can do the Karma Yoga, anything yoga, that means you surrender everything to the Lord. And the third one is going to be problems with the mind. That means if you have to train the mind, which is good for your motivate your spiritual. Suppose if you go to somebody's house, if you look any object or any jewelry or anything, that is low level. That is not going to help me to my spiritual level. The life is a short time. So we have to find something elevate for me to the spiritual line. Once you train that way, you can remember the Lord in the last minute. Thank you, brother.
Thank you. So shall we move on if there is no other?
Correct.
Arjuna, people describe me in 3 different ways. 1 as Nirguna Nirakara, 2 as Saguna Nirakara, and 3 as Saguna Sakara. I shall tell you about the second, the Saguna Nirakara first, and how you have to picture the Lord in this aspect. Listen, he is described as Kavi, poet, Puranam, Anusasita, subtler than the subtle, the sustenance and basis of all, having unpickable form. With the splendor of the sun as his complexion, beyond all trace of ignorance and darkness. At this point, Arjuna interrupted Krishna. He asked, Lord, you said he is Kavi. There are Kavis among ordinary mortals too. How then can you call the Lord too a Kavi and discredit him? Or does Kavi denote something special when applied to him? Make that point a little clearer. Krishna said, Kavi does not mean merely a poet. It means also one who is aware of the past, present, and future. And so it is a description of all of the Lord. He knows all, he sees all. Hence, the derivation of Kavi is mentioned as Sarvavagna.
Sarvajna.
Sarvajna Kranata Darsi. Did I say that right?
Krantadarshi.
Krantadarshi. He also sees the next step. It is the Lord who revolves in every heart and effects changes from step to step. For all creation, the Kavi is the motivator, the prime basis. He is the poet. His poem is all this. Arjuna again inquired, Lord, secondly, you said Purana, that he is Purana or ancient. What is the significance of that? Krishna replied, of course, the Lord is the most ancient, but he is the modern as he is ancient. He is Sanatana, primeval. beyond the beginning. He is also Nudana, new every moment. Purana means Pura, Navamviti. Formerly knew every minute of the past and the present.
Thank you very much, sister. So Swami is talking about Saguna Nirakara, one of the forms of the Lord. So I'll just open it up for discussion.
Do the Telugu too?
Okay, why don't we read Telugu? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Baba Arjuna, లోకమున మానవులు నన్ను మూడు విధములుగా వర్ణింతురు.
Oh, my brother-in-law Arjuna, in this world, man or humankind describe me in 3 different ways.
అవి ఏమనా, మొదటిది నిర్గుణ నిరాకార రూపము.
The first one,
ఆ,
what they are means the first one is Nirakara Rupa, that means formless one.
నిర్గుణ నిరాకార రూప,
Nirguna, formless, qualityless,
అట్రిబ్యూట్లెస్.
attributeless form.
రెండవది సగుణ సగుణ నిరాకార రూపము.
The second one is with attributes but without form.
మూడవది సగుణ సాకార రూపము.
The third form has form as well as attributes.
ఇందులో సగుణ నిరాకార రూపమును మొదట తెలుపుదును.
Among these 3, I will first describe you or explain to you the formless but with attribute form.
ఇందులో భగవంతుని ఏ విధముగా స్మరింతురో విను. కవి అనియు, పురాణుడనియు, అనుశాసితుడనియు, సూక్ష్మముల కంటే సూక్ష్మ స్వరూపుడనియు. It goes for a long.
Subtler than the subtle.
I think we have to stop.
Okay, we'll stop. Yeah. So how people describe or remember is they remember the Lord as Kavi, they remember him as Purana, then they remember him as Anusasita, then one who is which is subtler than the subtle. Anusasita means one who, I think Kavi means a poet, Purana means ancient, Anusasita means one who lays down the law. And then she is subtler than the subtlest.
సర్వాధారుడనియు,
He is the support of everything.
అచింత్య రూపుడనియు,
One the form which cannot be imagined or thought. Yeah.
ఆదిత్య వర్ణుడనియు,
He is of the color of the sun, complexion of sun.
effulgence of the sun. తమస్సుకు అతీతుడనియు వర్ణింతురు.
He is beyond tamas or the darkness. These are the description.
అంతలో అర్జునుడు, స్వామి, సర్వ సామాన్య మానవుల యందును కవులు కలరు గదా.
So Swami, among all human beings, the ordinary human beings also, there are poets.
అట్టి సామాన్య కవి వర్ణన పరమాత్మకు యోగ్యమైనదా?
Is it proper for using proper to use such a term, which is an ordinary term, to refer to the Lord?
లేక ఆ కవి అను వర్ణన ప్రత్యేక స్థానమునకు చెందినదా?
Or does it mean the term poet or kavi relates to something special or specific or a unique state?
కొంత వివరింపుము స్వామి, వివరింపు అన్నాడు.
Please explain, O Lord.
Should we go further or discuss here?
We can pause, I guess, Auntie.
Yeah, that's okay. This is a very important portion of that this thing. Swami first he is going to describe Kavi.
Mhm.
I think the next paragraph will give us. I think I'll read this next paragraph also.
Okay, Auntie.
Krishnudu Arjuna Kavi anaga kevalamo kavyamulu padyamulu vrayuta kadu.
Arjuna, Krishna is telling Arjuna, the poet or kavi means just does not refer to someone who writes verses or writes something down.
Kavyam padyam.
Yeah, kavyam or some, yeah.
Kavi anaga sarvagnatvam kana Bhagavantude Trikala Darshi.
Kavi means one who knows everything. He's an omniscient one. And God alone is the one who knows the 3 times.
Yeah.
Past,
Atane Sarvagnudu.
he is the all-knowing one.
Kavi Chudani Sthanam Undadu.
So there is no place which cannot be seen by this poet, Kavi.
Ani Vivarinchinaడు.
And thus he explained.
Andukane Kavihi Sarvagnaha Krantadarshi Ani Utpatti.
So Kavi is all-knowing and who knows the path of the journey. Or he shows the path.
Who shows Krantadarshi. Prativani Hrudayamandano Kranti Kaliginchunadi Bhagavantude.
In everyone's heart, the Lord is the one who shows the way to progress. Sorry, Auntie.
Kranti, what is it?
Kranti is movement, or
movement.
Movement or journey or whatever I would say.
Movement. Prativani Hrudayamandanu Kranti Kaliginchadu Bhagavantude Veyetiki Sarva Srishtiki Kaviye Adharamu.
For the entire creation, God is the poet is the support or the basis.
Kana Kavi Anaga Sarvagnudani Kani Beru Kadu.
So Kavi means one who is all-knowing, and there's no other meaning to that.
Bhagavantudu Akshara Kavi.
God is one who creates poetry. Akshara means who is without
eternal poetry.
Eternal
poetry. Atani Kavitvam Amrita Kavyam.
His poetry is an immortal kavya.
Presentation.
I think kavyam is
epic.
Epic. Okay, thank you.
Eternal kavya. I think we'll discuss this first, then we can go to Purana.
Yes, Auntie.
Most of us, I think we all know that this proverb when we say Ravi Kanadde Kavi Kandan, that we say in Kannada also. Ravi Kanaddannu Kavi Kanda. So what Ravi has not seen, Kavi can imagine. His imagination goes beyond that. That's how I have heard that saying.
Let's see.
And so Ravi refers to just like an average person?
No, sun.
Sun. Ravi. Oh, okay.
The sun is Ravi.
Okay. So what the sun cannot see?
The sun.
The Kavi is able to see.
The Kavi is able to see, even the Ravi cannot see that.
Okay.
I mean, that imagination is so vast that he can see some things which are not seen by these ordinary eyes, like us.
But is it that all poets are, very wise or something? Or like, why is it that poets are called like Sarvajna or?
In olden days, even sages were also called Kavi. Sages, because they were
Yeah.
holy. Yeah.
They're more jnani in that aspect, right? Like, you know,
Yeah.
you call somebody a poet if they are jnani who sees beyond time, kind of, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing as, a human being is called, a man is called Purusha. But actually, Purusha is the name of God. But it is applied to a human being also. That doesn't mean just because the name is there, we become Purusha. But it's an aspirational name. Hopefully, one day we. So I think it applies to Kavis also, people who are poets also. They've taken a name which is actually given to the Lord originally as Kavi. And it is given that title is given to human beings also who are engaging in any creative process.
Create.
Brother, just for sake, just in a common sense, the common usage, the Purusha is used for the men's, like married people, right? Not for all the humans, right? So is anything related to that too? Something? Purusha, we are using in a different way, right?
For males, we use the word Purusha.
Yes.
Not only that they are
Not
married.
to all the human, right?
Only
All men are entitled to be called Purusha.
men.
Women also.
Yes. That's what, after hearing all these things, then Purusha is a common. It's not only for the men's, like how we are referring now, right?
Yeah, correct. Arun,
Yes, Auntie.
do we have other meaning for Kranta? Kranti.
Yeah,
Kranta.
see, it's Kranti is saying overcoming, spreading, going. These are the meanings given, Auntie, in the dictionary.
Even, in revolution also it was called Krantikari. Revolution.
Yes.
Revolution is also called.
So even the planetary paths are called Kranta. You understand that the movement of planets.
Here,
They also.
it's only this. The
Yeah.
one.
So in this case, Kranta Darshi means one who shows the path, the way to move. He has established how to. Anusashita also means one who has laid down the law for our journey. Who has laid down.
Okay.
So it's all similar.
Anna, one more thing. There's also Sankranti, Samyak Kranti iti Sankranti. So that same thing, it is that movement towards the good direction, movement towards, so it is
Yes.
in that direction. Yeah.
Yes. Because it's Uttarayana movement, it is called Sankranti.
Sankranti.
Yes,
Sankranti.
Yeah.
But, Kranti was used so much in Industrial Revolution, French Revolution. Kranti was so much used. That's why I asked you to give the meanings, different meanings.
It's a progress, Auntie, so that's why they have used the word progress.
Progress, yeah.
Positive progress, is considered Kranti, Sankranti.
Yeah.
But, each, whenever sun enters another Rashi, it's called Shankranti.
Yeah.
So the Mesha Shankranti, or, each one is a Shankranti. Mesha Shankranti is Chaitra, which is the Tamil New Year or whatever. Makara Shankranti is the movement into Makara.
Makara Rashi.
So yeah, Kumbha Shankranti is there, but we don't celebrate Meena Shankranti, Mesha Shankranti. So any movement into another place is Shankranti.
Brother, so now we are trying to understand how to picture the Lord, right? So there's three different ways. So now we are try to understanding the Saguna Nikara.
Yeah.
So what
Nirakara.
is that? What is that? How we are picturing now?
Very good questions.
How we are picturing?
I was going to ask the same thing. So here, like, Swami says, Kavi, right? So he's beyond time. So that's how we have to imagine him in our, is that?
So how to imagine only attribute without the
Attribute,
form? Okay,
no
I think
form.
that's the
Okay,
question.
No
that is
form.
what I was going to ask.
Yes.
There's no form then, right? When we are imagining Swami.
Exactly.
I also have a question on this one. Out of three different ways, why Lord Krishna started with the second sets of the second set of form. Maybe he would have already started with either with qualities with form, or without qualities without form as the first one. What would be the specific reason why the Lord has chosen the second sets of set of ways to describe to Arjuna? Because if we go step by step, it should come in the backward, the third, second, and first. If it goes from the first one, that's maybe the Atvaida and the Tvaida, and maybe I don't know what would be the equivalent form for the third one. There should be a specific reason why Lord has chosen suddenly in the middle way, with qualities and without form. Maybe a little bit of clarification on that one. Why Lord has chosen that one would be the best one to explain maybe the unwise people. Maybe Arjuna is the very wise person. Maybe he would be able to understand. But for the ordinary people, I thought that we should go either from the third, second, and first. Thank you, Sairam. I thought yes, it captured my eye. That's a
Sisters,
particular.
I think for this question we need Swami in the call.
but as far as my small mind goes, it is Saguna Sakara is Avatara Purushas. Those who come in the form of human being, or many times he has come in the form of different animals also. And first one is absolute Brahman, Nirguna Nirakara. He has no attributes, he has no akara, there is no form. The first one is absolute Brahman. The third one is when he comes in the form of, he comes down to us in his incarnations. That's why I think I understood this way. If there is anything wrong, please correct me.
Yeah, I think I will agree with Auntie, because there are two things to discuss. One is guna and akara. When both are absent, it's almost impossible for us to describe nirguna nirakara. So then Swami goes to the second one, because it has only one thing to describe, which is guna. And so sometimes we mix up guna and akara. So this way he can just focus on the guna alone. But I think then that leads to the question of Sister Aruna and Narmada, that how do we picture this? So, see, once we can picture this, we can move forward. Yes, Brother Dasan.
How we can picture it? So first, the God is we studied Nirgun and Sargun. Nirgun is formless, Sargun is with a form. So here the first one.
Brother. Nirguna is without attributes, Saguna is with attribute.
With attribute, okay. So see, here they're talking about the Kavi, the second one, Saguna attribute. So the Kavi the real meaning is he's supposed to know all three kalas, and the God is knows three kalas, and he is explaining I am above the three kalas too. If we come to the other one with the attribute, okay, that is the second one, and the third one also saguna. So mean sometime with the form, even the Mahabharata, even that Arjuna wants to see Lord Krishna, the form. So he couldn't see that form because it's too wide and too large and everything, and so you cannot describe. So then Arjuna wants to ask the Lord to come back to the normal thing. So he's above the form too. If you describe, if he has a form, you cannot describe. So that's what my understanding, brother.
Okay, thank you. So the question still remains: how do we picture only attribute?
With the attributes, we cannot picture it because he's above that one. How then we cannot picture it? That we have to think he's above all.
Okay, so Brother Tarzan says it can be pictured. But then the Lord is describing that. What do we do with it? I think that's the question. How do we meditate?
So you have to think he's above everything and meditate.
Okay.
Could
Okay.
it be, Sainam, could it be to
Yes.
experience that attributes?
Yeah, that's what I feel. Only experience. For example,
Yes.
he is giving the attribute of Kavi. Who is a Kavi? He is Sarvagna. He knows he is a Krantadarshi. All these attributes he is giving. Only we can imagine in our mind how it can be. There is no akara, particular akara here. There is no particular form here. Sairam.
Thank you.
And then it could be, you know, how sometimes oh my God, this is such a coincidence. It's a coincidence. I didn't plan. Or so those experiences make you think, yes, there is God who is Saguna Nirakara, because you can't see it, but his presence gives you those aha moments to experience those things, which is beyond human thinking.
Any other?
Sorry, Ramana.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll just start with the context and then come to this. So we know that Guru, the word Guru, if we take, we have Gu, Gunatita, who is beyond gunas, and Ru is Rupa Varjita, one who does not have form. So in the ultimate sense of Guru, that is Gunatita and Rupa Varjita, it goes with the first definition of what Swami is saying, where it is Nirakara Nirguna. So that is in that sense of what Guru stands for. So Sister Anandi's question, possibly Lord Krishna decided to play it safe with Arjuna. He didn't start with 3 because till he showed the Vishwarupa Darshana and he said Karishye Vachanam Tava, till then Arjuna was always just treating Krishna as brother-in-law, Bhava, Bhava, Bhava. And so directly for Lord Krishna to go to the third part of Saguna and having with the Rupa to explain that, he before going to that is where the second part, where he explains the attributes of the Lord in the Nirakara form, and then shows how all of that attributes are there in that Akara form of himself, and that is where is the he begins to see that it is no longer his brother-in-law but the Lord. So that is for what Sister Anandi had mentioned, possibly in that realm. But going down to the thing of how do we essence the attributes, usually when we say fragrance, our mind puts a rose behind it or a flower behind it. If we say love, we put the form of mother behind it, that kind of a thing of that attribute drawing upon a form comes, but where Swami is holding it as in that space where we essence that love. If we, I'm trying to put that because we say Daiva Priti, love for God, which also leads to other things of Papa Bhiti, fear of sin, and Sanganiti, morality in society. But every time we see that aspect of love, and that love which is in everybody, and because it is in everybody, it is becoming independent of the form, and so it is less of the form, formless kind of a thing. That's where I'm trying to hold. It is in everybody, and that which is in commonality with everybody goes beyond that form, where it remains only as an attribute. And I'm sorry if I confuse this too much, but I'm just trying to say it essences as love, it essences as bhakti, it essence as that feeling that we feel, which helps us make the form independent, that is beyond whether we call him as Rama, Krishna, or Sai. What comes within each of us as the feeling becomes towards that Lord, becomes that attribute for the Lord. Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, Sai Satish. So I think Sister Shivani and Sai Satish have touched upon this experience thing. They can only be experienced. As Sai Satish said, smell. I think Swami wanted to drive home the point that Saguna Nirakara itself, even to get to that stage, you need to have Sakar. Because Sai Satish says, without the Sakara, without the form, you would have experienced the Saguna also, the Guna. He gave the example of rose. A fragrance, if something is very smelling very nice. That means we should have smelled something nice before we can recollect that experience. So for that, a rose or a jasmine or some object should have been there, some form would have been there from which we were able to taste that smell, or we should smell the smell. Just the same way, taste also, if somebody says, can you imagine sweetness? So you will right away attribute it to some sweet which you have eaten. So sweetness is an attribute, nice smell is an attribute. Unless we have had that experience, we will not be able to recollect or meditate on it also. So I think all these attributes, for us to imagine or even recollect, we should have had an experience firsthand before we can even contemplate on it. So I think that to drive home this point, Krishna must be starting with Saguna Nirakara to emphasize on the importance of Sakara as a preliminary step. Is my view, understanding. So that Saira.
Can we add this Vatsalya, Prema, and Sneha, all these attributes, Navavidha Bhakti, when we take up any one of them, we can feel that form is behind it. For example, Vatsalya. When we take Vatsalya, that's a feeling, but mother's Vatsalya, it comes to us. Or naturally it comes to us. So the form will come later on, but we experience that Saguna, that Guna attribute. Saira.
Brother, so that is pictured is unpictured is the answer. The picturing it, unpictured. So even you are experiencing, you shouldn't have a form behind it.
You don't need the form system.
Yes, experience within. So it shouldn't relate to any kind of form behind. So that's how it has to be pictured. Picture, unpictured. Thank you. Thank you.
Sairam, I remember that way back, maybe one of the examples, maybe if it is a toddler or something, if we want to teach him apple or something, first, if we show the apple to him, that child, the child would picture it, what is apple. Then maybe in the years comes when you say, go and have an apple, the child would know what is apple, and we don't need to show them every time, this is apple, you eat this one. Maybe that kind of understanding, I believe I have a really good understanding why Lord Krishna, maybe Brother Sai Sadish nicely explained, maybe Arjuna, he has already gone through the uh, Saguna and Sakhara in that stage. That's why for him, Lord Krishna started with the second stage and move on to the third stage. But for us, I believe we should go through the third and the second and the first one. That's my understanding. Thank you so much.
So here, I'm just trying to relate what we read before, as Bhagavan said, that, you have to discipline your mind, and all of the thoughts, whether they are low or inferior, you should avoid those and concentrate or put your thoughts on Madhava. So here he is describing his attributes. Who am I, right? So it will be easy for you to understand, to kind of concentrate, because mind, thoughts are thoughts, doesn't have any form. I don't know, I'm complexing here, but I'm understanding here is giving a description to help us to understand, not understand, try to see if we understand, so we can tame our mind.
Thank you, sister. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share anything, please? Then maybe I will pose a question. Then how do we experience Kavi? We talked about smell and taste, but how do we experience Kavi?
I would say myself, when I feel very happy and content, and that moment, I feel that some sort of, maybe that may be very temporary and maybe for a second or two, but when I feel happiness within me, uh, that's the moment is I have maybe that momentarily I have had I have been with the Lord, and maybe at that moment I really experience that kind of understanding I have had.
Thank you, sister. Anyone else you'd like to share? How do we experience and contemplate or meditate on the Kavitvam of the Lord? Sai Satish.
Saramana, when you're saying kavitvam of the Lord, are you saying in terms of Trikala Darshi? Means which aspect of the Kavi are you asking about? Based on that, I can.
Yes, that's what
Just the
Swami has
Trikala.
explained. Kavis. Please go ahead.
Yeah.
Little louder, Sai Satish.
Yes, sir. Is it fine now?
Yes.
So how I would essence is this is again from what I've seen Bhagawan saying, whatever happens is good for me. For when I am able to essence that, I am essencing, or it is the complete acceptance that the Lord is Trikaladarshi. He's the knower of the past, present, and future. And whatever he's giving to me is his prasadam, and I am accepting that. So, in terms of whatever happens is good for me, and if you are going through a very like a whether it is a high or a low, accepting all of that as a fleeting moment, and also knowing means like what Swami would say, everything is like a passing cloud. That's what he would say, kadri poye megalu, it comes and goes kind of a thing. So knowing that that aspect of nothing of that is permanent, and that he is always with us. You would say, I am in you, with you, above you, below you, around you. So that kind of a feeling of, since he is always there at all points in time, he is always with us. That is as a physical understanding that I am seeing of. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you very much, Sai Satish. Thank you. Anyone else, please?
So Sairam, brother. So when I meditate on the Lord, he is above the three gunas. Even this yuga and even my next birth, he is going to be with me. So he is above three level. So that's all I meditate. I cannot describe. That's it. Thank you, brother Sairam.
Thank you. Thank you.
Brother, so in order to have the beyond all the trace of ignorance and darkness, as Brother Sai Satish mentioned, we have to have the acceptance for like a belief that's all Lord's will. Then you can come out of the ignorance and the darkness. That's how I will see.
Aruna, we have not gone to that subtler aspect of Lord Krishna. Now we are discussing the first one, that
Kavi.
is Kavi. Let us first understand Kavi.
Yeah,
Because
in the Kavi only, it says with the form, splendor of form is a sun's complexion. Beyond all.
No, sister. Sister. That is another, see, Kavi, Purana, Anushasita, those are different attributes given.
Okay.
So we are only now in Kavi.
Kavi.
Okay.
Saira,
Yes.
what I feel is the creative ability in a human being is nothing but the motivator who is inside us. So we don't have any form for that, but that creative imagination in a person, that itself we can feel, we can come out with something. So that is one way of, without any form, we can feel. Saira.
Thank you, Auntie. Thank you. So I think, so whenever anything new which we see in this world, I think as Auntie said, a flower is blossoming. We can see the handwork of the Lord. We don't have to appreciate the flower, but the fact that it is blossoming, or a child is born, anything new, somebody does something new, we can see the handiwork of the Lord and be able to experience that as the work of the Lord, His presence in that process.
He is the
I
motivator.
think that's what Auntie said, and Sai Satish has nicely explained. When at all times we know, as everything happens, we know that the Lord is in charge. He knows what's happening, and He's just making things happen. So in life, going through life, it may be not sitting in one place and meditating, but going through life with that awareness that Lord is making things blossom, and everything is prasadam, and He knows what He's doing. Just to have that state of mind as feeling the presence of the Lord is one way I think we can experience the Lord.
When you're saying this, it reminds me when you go for a hike, you see some stones are cracked, and from that stone, some flower is blossoming or some plant is coming, and you wonder where it's coming from, how. And that's just saying that's what our Bhagawan is all about, which makes you wonder how this happens.
also I think we are the creations of God. So when we are created, God should be very happy. Uh, because we are His creations, and He should be very proud of us, regardless of what we are doing uh, on this birth. But He should be very happy.
If you don't own it, if you don't say, I own it, the idea, the creativity. Sorry, not to spoil the joke, but I'm just adding, as far as we do the creative part, work towards that, giving to the world, but not own it.
Okay, thank you, sister. I think Saku auntie wanted to say something.
Yes, Sairam. Sarvajnana Krantadarshi is God. So sometimes we may plan to do something, and when it doesn't come right, and the result, you then realize, oh, God saved us. Unseen hands saved us. We think like that. So that is, we realize God is Kavi. He sees everything beyond the present time. So he knows what is good for us. Am
Thank
I
you very
wrong?
Yeah, thank you, auntie. Thank you.
Your silence made me.
No. I was waiting for you to complete. That's all. Very nice. Means Swami will give us that experience in all of us, I guess. But just so that we are aware of it. I'm sure all of us at some level feel the presence, but next time it will be a bit more with experience, with a very good awareness. This is the Saguna aspect of the Lord working. We can't see the form of how He is doing it, all that we can't see, but He makes us experience what He is creating. I think that's the Lord's hand, even though we don't see Him doing it.
The third aspect, Saguna Sakara, we have to discuss.
Auntie, I think as long as we understand what it means, I think I'm sure Swami will come to it.
No, still we are doing Saguna Nirakara.
Yeah.
The next one is Saguna Sakara.
No, Auntie, Saguna,
Purana.
Purana is next. I think the next passage is Purana.
No, matlab, Saguna Sakara means we should know, it is a form, it has an attribute. That's what I was trying to tell.
That's fine.
That's what I was trying to tell.
Sakara means with form, I think.
With form, with attributes.
Which you have already explained, an avatar, some
where
you have a form.
You had said that Kavi means not just like poetry, but any kind of creation. Is that right? And somebody who creates something.
Because for all creation, Kavi is the motivator, Swami is saying, Srishtikarta, something.
Basically, Swami, what Krishna is trying to tell is Kavi refers to that Lord. What he denotes, the word Kavi means he is Sarvagnatva and his Kranti Darshatva. These two aspects, so that he is mentioned as Kavi.
Kranta Darashi can mean both he who sees the next step, but also he who shows the path as well.
Yes, both way you can say. Darshi means actually someone who shows, I would say, or maybe who witnesses also, both I think.
So that is covered with the sustenance and the basis of all, right? Because he's the creating and everything, right?
I don't know, we have not come up to that stage. Still we are doing Saguna Nirakara.
Where is sustenance?
That first paragraph itself, subtler than when he says Puranam,
Yes, 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 yes.
There is given.
Yeah, he has just listed, sister, and he's taking one by one each
One by one
item,
he's going to
and
take.
he's describing.
Kavi, he has taken Purana next one.
Isn't it the Kavi goes with that also because it's the
It's one attribute.
yes.
Kavi is one attribute, sister. Purana is another attribute.
Yes,
Anushashit
Kavi
is the
is a
third
one,
attribute.
but Purana is one, but Kavi is the motivator and whatever you see also, like whatever is creating or whatever is comes as new thing also.
Yes.
So that it doesn't go with the basis of all. That's how it connected.
Yeah, it is. You are right. Somehow you can lead to that, all of that. But we are just trying to understand what is kavitva at this point.
Sairam, just a point what Auntie said. Saguna Sakara is form with attributes, and Saguna Nirakara is attributes without any form.
Yeah.
So understanding is when Bhagawan is explaining that, describing his people, he's describing himself. So my understanding is, are we saying that anything in form is me, and anything which you experience and formless is me too?
Yes, sister.
So basically everything is him.
But he's just helping us meditate. I think the whole
To
purpose
control
is,
take. Okay.
see, we have to reach a point. I think, for example, Om, see, that's where he started the whole thing. When you're dying, you should meditate on Om.
Yeah.
Okay. Om is actually formless and attributeless. Then he's slowly telling how do you get to that point. Then he has listed that we should meditate on the Lord and we should remove other thoughts. Then he's saying, okay, how do you meditate on the form? Or then he's slowly peeling the layer and explaining it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Thanks.
So we can go to Purana now.
Yeah, Purana now. We can go.
Okay.
Should I read first Telugu and then we can?
Yes, Auntie. Why don't we read the Telugu and then
we can discuss it better.
Time is almost up, but we can read, Auntie.
Yeah. Okay. Swami రెండవది పురాణాది అంటిది అది ఎట్టది? How is it?
Arjuna is saying, Swami, you said the second one is Purana. What kind of thing is it?
Yeah. దాని అంతరార్థమును తెలుపుడు అన్నాడు అర్జునుడు.
Please tell me the inner significance, inner meaning.
అర్జున, ఎంత పాతవాడైనను అంతకంతకు కొత్తవాడు అగుచుండును, అటివాడు భగవంతుడు.
Yeah, so Krishna is telling Arjuna, however old he is much more newer than that.
అంత కొత్తవాడు భగవంతుడు. అతనే సనాతనుడు.
He is God and he is the eternal one.
Ancient. ఎప్పటికప్పుడు నూతనుడు.
At each moment he is new.
అందుకనే పురాణ నవమితి పురాణం. పురాణ నవమితి పురాణం.
So Puranam means that which is old and new.
అంటే that's all he is described here in the. He is Sanatana and he is Nutana, both.
Can you explain that first sentence again? However old he is much newer than that?
Telugu, what? You want
yes,
Telugu?
Yes, I didn't understand the meaning of
Arjuna, enta paatavadainano, however old he may be. Bhagavan, however old he may be, old or ancient he may be, antakantaku kratva. He is
much more newer than that.
Much more newer than that. Attivadu Bhagavantudu.
So his newness supersedes that oldness also.
Yeah. He is Sanatana.
he's old and he's growing older, but at the same time he's also growing newer.
Yeah. The question comes, how the old can become new?
What is that is referred by that? He's going old and he's becoming new and he's a newer thing. What is
Yeah.
Swami is trying to tell with that?
Very nice, sister. Very. So how do we understand this attribute? Just the way we talked about Kavi. How do we understand this? Someone who is newer than the old. He's older and older, but he's newer than the older. How do we understand this?
So, Sairam brother, if we take a person, older person, we'll say he's an older person. But God is, even though he's prana, very old, but you can say he doesn't get aged. So even this age, he's look like very new. If you can think, you can think, imagine he's a very prana person. He's a very old. At the same time, you can think at the present too, he knows everything and talented. Thank you.
Thank you very much, brothers. Thank you.
He is birthless and he is deathless.
So
Is he-
there's no beginning or end, like
There is
just
no beginning, there is no end. Adi Anantam Lenivadu.
Yeah.
There is
Can we
no
say he's Kalatitaya?
Kalatita.
Yeah.
There
was
is
just
no
going to-
Adi, there is no Antam.
Yes, Sai Satish.
I was just going to say that because if you take, Swami would say Kala Kala Maha Kala Surupaya Namaha, that whole thing he would chant, right, Swami? So God as time, if we take, so the most ancient of the ancient. So in terms of the eternal existence, time itself defined existence. So that is what it is. And even as we go forward, every moment, like even as we speak, a new second is formed and so on. So literally essencing the creation of time every second while time is eternal. That is what says that he is the older than the oldest and the newer than the newest. So he's Sanatana, but at the same time he's Nitya Nutana. He is
Nitya.
eternal, but he is at the same time Nitya Nutana, like Nutana being new and ever new. So that meaning can come in.
Thank you, Sai Satish. Anyone else?
Sairam. Oh,
Yes,
Sayan,
sister.
brother. Go ahead.
go ahead.
Maybe mine is very simple question. Even though we, according to this passage, we understand prana means old and new, and why the maybe ages and ages, when we say prana, it's really meant to ancient rather than new. Even Bhagavad Gita is ancient, even from thousands or multi thousands of years ago, or even the timeless. But the Lord Krishna indicated prana means old and new. Every single moment, it would be, the new would become the old, and the new would be emerging every single moment. But why? Up until now, all the scriptures, even the ancient scriptures, when we say prana, we always think it backs to the ancient time. Maybe that is my question. Thank you.
Anandi, it is Purana. It is not Prana, it is Purana.
It's different meaning, Auntie.
Yeah, of course it has. Prana has got meaning, different meaning. It is Purana is ancient. You have to say Purana.
Purana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not Prana.
Sairam,
Sairam.
we can apply this to Veda too. Veda is also ancient of all the ancient, and the newest of all the newest, because it's divine.
The Narmada, you want to say something?
No, I was just thinking, and because to kind of understand how is it old yet it's new, because God is constant. So because we are aging every second, because our body is aging, we are changing, but he does not change really, because he's constant, therefore he's new and old. I don't know. I was trying to figure it. I was just trying to understand in my head.
Good question. Yes, Sister Aruna.
His time because of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we can continue because it's 3:31.
Okay.
But I'll just summarize where we are, and we can continue this discussion. I will just give a couple of examples, and then we will go ahead. For example, if you take a tree, very old tree, it may be 100-year-old tree. Every spring, there's something new. There are new flowers showing up. So which we see every day, and we say, oh, that's a new blossom. But it's a very old tree. Today, with the new blossoms, has it taken a new form? It has taken a form. But at the same time, it's old also. There'll be new fruits coming up. So it is, but the tree is old. But at every point, every day, there's something new appearing. So even human beings, there may be some aspects which are aging, but every day there are new cells being growing in our body. There are cells dying, at the same time, cells are also growing. So, and I think that's in general, we can next week, whole week, we can look at everything around us and see whether it's Purana or Nava, Pura or Nava. We can check. And I think to Narmada's question, God is constant, she said. Yes, the underlying is constant, but the periphery is always changing, just like the ocean. The ocean is still, but every day there are new waves showing up. Every day there are new bubbles which will come and burst. Okay, so so ocean is ancient. It is constant, but on the periphery you will see these things happening. That's a play of Saguna itself. But at the Nirakara Nirguna level, it is constant. But I think it's an exercise for us to see the Lord as Purana all around us for a week. We can experience Kavitva, we can experience Purana, and that can become a sadhana, just practicing what we have learned. And I think Swami will give us hopefully some experience, and then we can come back new with new meanings, new understanding next time, though the lesson is an old one. So with those words, I think we'll close the day, today's session with the prayers. Okay, Sai Ram, everyone.
Can I just ask one thing?
Yes,
so
sure,
that we
sure,
can,
sure.
so I have it clear in my mind. So Pura Navamiti in the English translation, it says formerly new, but when you were translating it, you said new and old. So is it
Pura is old.
Yeah.
Nava is new.
So both old and new.
Yes, the word Purana contains old and new.
Okay, so this translation formerly new, it's not really the correct one. Okay.
Pura and Navam iti. Pura means old, Nava new, iti Purana. Purana means old and new.
Okay.
But he has already said, the newness is little older than, little more than the older, something like that. But I will leave that. Okay. I hope it's okay.
Very nice.
Yeah, Sai Ram. We'll close the session with prayers and we'll come back for a new satsang session. Okay, Sai Ram. Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Jai Sai Ram.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Saira.
Yeah.